Credit cards are like the angel versus devil in the financial space. You either love them or you hate them. You've either had one and will never use one again. You either have one and you really use it well, or you have just never had one. Credit cards can be really overwhelming for a lot of people, especially if you have never had one before, but you're considering jumping onto the internet and signing up to one. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you and talking about the pros and cons when it comes to credit cards. I think it's really important that before you even press apply or even try and get a credit card, that you do understand the advantages and the disadvantages of credit cards. So a little bit of a background story on credit cards from my perspective. I had one probably when I was 18 up until the age of, let's say like 27. And when I first had my credit card, I was really good. I paid it off all the time. I never held a balance and I never really earned interest of it. However, when it came to around my mid-20s, so like 22 to 23, I just kind of gave up on my budgeting. I didn't really care too much about my finances anymore, and I would just spend on my credit card until I had a balance of about $5,500, and I just kept paying the minimum monthly payments, kept accruing interest, and it took me almost a year to 2 years to pay off. I do have a video on my credit card journey on my channel, and I will link it above somewhere. I am someone who never should have got a credit card, especially back in those days, because I didn't have enough money to pay off my credit card. I didn't really have a good understanding of where my money was going and why I was spending so much money on it. However, now in the situation that I'm in, I am probably smart enough and well educated enough to have a credit card and be able to spend on that credit card smartly and definitely be able to pay it off every single month. So that's a little bit about my backstory. Let's jump into the pros and cons of credit cards. So let's start with the first one, and that is convenience. Okay, let's be honest, credit cards are convenient. So often you can have credit cards attached to your phone where you can just tap and make purchases as if you did have a physical credit card with you. You never have to worry about carrying a wallet with you or carrying cash. You only ever need your mobile phone really with you and the card, if that, which makes them actually really convenient to not only travel with, but pack for as well in a wallet or a bag. So the next one is building credit. Now, if you are from Australia like myself, this isn't necessarily applicable to us, but a lot of people have the misconception that credit cards are really important for building your credit in Australia, and that is just not true. If you are my American friends, yes, having a credit card definitely does help you to build credit. Building credit can actually be really helpful if you are ever wanting to take out any kind of loan, especially if it is a home loan. They will look at your credit score number and determine if you are going to be a good candidate for a loan or not. So if you are really good at paying off your credit card every single month, obviously your credit score number is going to be a lot higher than someone who never ever pays their credit. So it is really important to build your credit score if you are wanting to get a home loan, especially if you are in America. For my Australian friends, credit cards don't necessarily help us build credit here. Banks in Australia really look at that you can pay for your bills so that you never have any missed payments, whether that's for Telstra, your phone bill, Netflix, anything like that. They also look at how much Uber Eats you've been ordering and if you have Afterpay. I would say that having Afterpay is more of a concern for a bank than if you have a credit card. So when we build our credit score in Australia, they look at all of those things. So it is not just necessarily that you have a credit card, it is any credit that is against your name. So yeah, when I say Afterpay, that is a type of credit. And if you have Afterpay and if you have to pay back a lot of Afterpay, banks will consider that like a credit card. Next are rewards and benefits. Now there are so many credit cards out there that have amazing benefits and rewards programs. Especially if you like to fly with Qantas or with Virgin, there are a lot of credit cards that actually give you a lot of points, like up to 100,000 points upon sign up. You can also get cash back on some purchases, which also means that that's then going to save you money as well. Some credit cards will actually give you a travel credit, which means that instead of you paying the $450 annual fee, they will give you the $450 back in like a flight voucher. It definitely depends on the credit card that you are looking at. If it is a flight or if it is an airline credit card, you will definitely get a lot of airline points, and you can often actually join them with like your everyday rewards kind of ones, like with Flybuys or with Woolworths. You can sometimes join those up as well. So the more points that you do earn, the more dollar value it will have against it. However, sometimes with credit cards, you do have to have a minimum monthly spend on a credit card. So I know that a fair few of them, and again, I could totally be wrong, but some of them do have a minimum $3,000 monthly spending in order for you to be eligible for particular rewards and benefits. So just make sure that you keep that in mind when you are doing your research. The next one, and this is actually one of the reasons why I got a credit card back in the day, because I was traveling a fair bit. And instead of having to pay travel insurance all the time, my credit card actually came with free travel insurance. And often I could actually add family members onto my travel insurance and they got it for free and it covered them as well. So sometimes credit cards can actually have complimentary features like travel insurance. They also can, and again, it depends on the credit card, and if you are wanting a credit card with an airline, a lot of the time you can get free lounge access as well. You can also use those points to upgrade your flight. If you bought an economy ticket and if you have enough flight points, you can actually use those points to upgrade to business or to first class without actually having to pay or buy that $10,000 flight ticket, which for Lewis and I, that is actually something that we are really considering at the moment, because we do fly, not often, but we do like to go on holidays and we do really like to travel. We would use the credit card to use the points to upgrade our flight, not necessarily buy a business class ticket, but we would look at purchasing an economy ticket and then building enough points up so then we could use those to upgrade our seat when we need to. The only thing to consider with this as well is that sometimes it is subject to availability and you're not always guaranteed like that upgrade. So even if you do have, I don't know, what is it, like 1 million points or whatever to go up to business class, there might actually not be any business class seats available and therefore you're not necessarily guaranteed it. So just keep that in mind as well. Some of them can include also some extended warranty, so some home items or even just home insurance as well. So they really do like to work with insurance companies to give you either a discount or to give it to you for free. Anything that is free, especially when it comes to credit card companies, is definitely going to draw you in. So really, when you see the benefits or the special features that a credit card does have, you really need to read through the T's and C's, so the terms and conditions, and find out what is the eligibility for all of these rewards and these benefits. So like I said, for a credit card that has 100,000 flight points up for grabs when you sign up, it might have a minimum spend of around $3,000 a month in order for you to actually become eligible for those points. You then sometimes also have to pay for a flight membership. So I know that with Qantas, there is a credit card that will give you 100 or 150,000 points upon sign up. However, it is a minimum monthly spending of $3,000. But in order to actually use those points, you have to be a Qantas member, which is also $100 sign up as well. So not only do you have to pay the fee, so the monthly or the annual fee when it comes to the credit card, you also have to pay for the flight membership as well. I could be wrong, but from my reading, that is what I had found. So those are some positives when it comes to credit cards. And look, there might be many more. If you have any other positives when using a credit card, if you are one of those people, please leave them down below. There are so many people that offer tips, tricks, and any kinds of credit card hacks to really get the most out of their credit card usage. If you are someone who is really in control of their finances, who is really good at paying things on time, who will never hold a balance, and that will be able to always pay the entire credit card off every single month, I think that it could be really, really good for you. If you are someone who tends to overspend, or if you are not so confident in your financial situation, then maybe keep on listening, because some of these cons might get you thinking a little bit more to see if credit cards are the right fit for you. All right, so here are some cons. The first one are high interest rates. So unfortunately, if you do not pay your credit card off at the end of every single month, you are actually charged interest on every single purchase that you make. So you will be charged an interest on the balance of your credit card. This can really, really add up, especially if you do not pay your credit card off every month. This will then start building up and it can get really, really expensive. And that $10 top that you bought might actually end up costing you $20 to $30 if you continuously just pay off the minimum amount for the next couple of months or years. It is really important that if you do decide to get a credit card that you can pay it off every single month, because those high interest rates can be lethal. They add up so quickly, they build up really quickly, and sometimes you don't even like recognize or see that it's coming. So you really do have to be very disciplined and know exactly what you are putting on your credit card and paying it off as soon as you possibly can. Sometimes credit cards can have a 0% for like the first year, which is really great, but then be really careful that that credit card is not going to jump up to a 20 to 25% interest rate. Because if you, again, I'm just going to use $10 because it's easy maths. If you purchase something for $10 and then you don't pay that $10 off, at the end of that month, you are going to be charged, let's say 25% on that $10. That $10 top is not going to cost you $10 anymore. It's going to cost you $12.50, which is $2.50 that you didn't actually have to spend, but because you didn't pay your credit card off, the company has to charge you interest. So yeah, I just think it's so important that if you do decide to get a credit card, that you can and do pay it off as soon as you possibly can. The next are fees. Now, credit cards can come with a lot of fees. These might be annual fees, late fees, or even balance transfer fees. So an annual fee is what you pay the bank to say, yes, I still want my credit card and I'm going to use it. They're going to charge you a fee anywhere between like $100 to $450 just to have that credit card. Doesn't give you any other benefit apart from the fact that you have to pay the bank $100 just to be able to hold onto the credit card and use it. Next is late fees. So if you miss a payment, you're obviously going to be charged a hell of a lot of money for missing a payment. It's like you getting in trouble with the principal. That's what late fees are. If you have done something wrong and you haven't paid off your credit card, you're gonna get in trouble with the principal, which is the bank, and they're gonna charge you late fees. And every time that you then don't pay back the balance plus the late fee, they just keep charging you more and more and more. Also keep in mind balance transfer fees. So if you transfer your balance from one credit card to another, just be careful to see, or just make sure that there are no balance transfer fees if you do decide to do that. Some have them, some don't. It just depends on the credit card and the bank that the credit card is with as well. So just make sure that you are aware of those 3 fees because they can add up really quickly. This next one is one of the reasons why I chopped up my credit card and I no longer use it anymore. It is because having a credit card can be so tempting for people to overspend. The reason why credit cards can be so tempting to overspend is because it's not like real money. It's not coming directly out of your account and it's not you using cash. And I actually found I actually found a website. It's called nerdwallet.com, and it actually found that when people used a credit card, they actually spent 12 to 18% more on purchases than they would if they were using cash. So I'll take McDonald's case study for example. So someone actually spent $7 at McDonald's on a credit card rather than someone who used cash, which was actually $4.50. So that's $2.50 difference between using a credit card and using cash, which in hindsight, that doesn't sound like a big deal. But if you look at something for like $100 and you're like, oh yeah, but like I'll buy this other top because I get paid next week and then I'll be able to pay off my credit card. And instead of spending that $100, you might actually end up spending like $120 or $140 or even upwards of like hundreds of dollars, because it's you telling your future self, oh, you'll deal with this. I want this stuff now, but I don't have the money for it now. So future me, you'll just have to make sure that you take care of past Angie and that you pay for her the things that she purchased. So credit cards can be really, very tempting to overspend. You really just have to be diligent and really strict with yourself that if you do purchase anything that you can pay it off straight away. Myself personally, I actually did that quite a lot, especially when it came to makeup. So back in like 2013 to 2017, all of these really pretty amazing makeup brands came out with amazing products and they looked gorgeous, and I would actually buy those products purely for the fact that they just looked great. And I would spend, I don't even want to say it, but like thousands and thousands of dollars on makeup back in those days. I actually reckon that if I was to go back and have a look at my credit card statement, a lot of it would probably be makeup. And the sad thing is that after I cut up my credit card, I probably threw most of that makeup out because I never used it. It just looked nice. Yeah, you just gotta be very strict with yourself and know exactly what you're spending your money on. This last one, and this is also something that I did because I just didn't understand. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand credit cards. And then once Lewis actually told me how silly I was being, I really stopped then and there and started to pay it off as soon as I possibly could. And that was because I got stuck into the minimum monthly due trap. So credit card companies offer a minimum amount that you need to pay off at every single month. If you pay this minimum off, it means that you actually avoid all of those late fees that I spoke about a little bit earlier. The issue with this is that it is the lowest amount of money that you need to pay in order to keep your credit card agreement. Yes, it means that there are no late fees. However, this balance that is then left over gets brought over into the next month, and in that next month, you are then charged interest on that balance, plus interest on any new balance that you might have if you again only pay the minimum monthly off. Oh, it just like, instead of it being paid off in 1 month, it might end up taking you a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years in order to get rid of the balance if you are only paying off the minimum amount. And the credit cards are doing this to be like, hey, we're helping you out. Like, you've got $1,000 balance left, but how about you only pay us $100 this month? It's fine. That's all that you need to pay us and we'll still be friends. But in saying that, if you then have $900 left over, that is going to go on to the next month, and then you are going to be charged interest on that $900 plus anything else. And then it just keeps going and going and going and going, and it can just get out of hand so quickly. So your $1,000 that you originally had that you could have just paid off is now $2,000. It's now $3,000. It's now $5,500 like myself. And I was only paying $75 a month off my credit card every single month. That was pretty much only the interest that I was paying off. I wasn't even touching the principal of my purchases. I was only paying the interest that I was accruing, which it blew my mind because that was such a waste of money. Like, I could have had thousands of dollars in my account if I had just paid the credit card straight off, and it ended up taking me a really long time to get rid of it. And once I was at zero and I had made that last payment, I didn't save any money for that 1 to 2 years. All I did was whatever I had left over from my income, it went straight to the credit card and I paid it off because I was not someone at that time who could have a credit card. But that's a little bit negative. It might still be something that you're really interested in, and maybe having a credit card is something that you can do. A credit card might suit you if you are obviously over the age of 18, that you are an Australian citizen, or you are a permanent resident, or you have some sort of visa. You have a regular source of income, so you know that money is going to be coming into your account every single week, fortnight and month, and anything that you spend on the credit card you can actually pay off. That you are someone who can and does pay your bills on time and that you pay them regularly. If you want to keep like certain transactions separate from your everyday banking account, so you can actually do direct debits from your credit cards as well. So if you want to put Netflix or Stan or your phone bill on your credit card, you can do that too. And then once that gets taken out of your credit card, you can just transfer the money back over. So then you don't hold a balance and that it's zero. So you can use a credit card for that as well, which is a really smart idea. That you're actually really interested in earning rewards for your spending. So if you just want a credit card just to have one to look cool, probably not the great thing for you. But if you were really wanting to like hack the system and earn points for flights, use it for the lounge at the airport. You can also use a lot of the airports internationally too, again, depending on the credit card. If you are someone who is going to use those points to really save you money, then yeah, I think credit cards are a great thing for you. And that you can actually afford to pay a little extra for the convenience. So it's not just every single month purchases that you have to think of. It's, can I pay for that $300 annual fee every year that the bank is going to charge me? Because that is something that is an extra little expense that you need to take into consideration before you take out a credit card. Is that something that you can actually afford, or is that something that you can actually budget for with your income? If yes, amazing. If no, then maybe a debit card is great for you. Those are some advantages and disadvantages of credit cards. As you can see, Credit cards can be a really great financial tool. However, you can get stuck and go down the rabbit hole, and it can go dark very, very quickly. You just have to be really disciplined, be strict, and really know the ins and outs of your credit card. Really make sure that you are getting bang for your buck, especially when it comes to rewards and cashback, and just make sure that you are paying that credit card off every single month, so then you are not giving the banks any more money than they already have. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you do give this video a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Do you have a credit card? If so, do you like it? Do you not like it? If you were a credit card person and now you are not a credit card person, or if you aren't a credit card person but you really want to be, let me know as well. Let's again start a conversation, and I will see you in a video sometime in the very near future. Bye, guys.